last video, I made a promise to you that I would tell you about my favorite anime, and that promise was a little over a month ago. I'll be honest and admit that I lost the motivation to make videos, but most importantly, I lost the motivation to make this video. As I was writing the script, nothing really felt right to me. I couldn't figure out how to introduce the anime or what I was even going to talk about. And because of that, Saturday passed by without any progress, and then Sunday. I broke my promise, which made me feel like giving up. So, that's what I did. For an entire month, I kept telling everyone that I'd come back to it when I feel motivated again. But to me, it felt like this was it. So then, why am I making this video now? Well, the answer might sound a bit disappointing, but I just really wanted to finish this. The script has been open in my browser for all this time now, and I guess I decided that I can't keep running away from this forever. Might as well just throw myself in head first and hope for the best. So, here goes nothing. Before 2017, I always dreaded the entire idea of picking my favorite anime. There was a part of me that thought that because I watched anime seasonally that I would never end up finding my favorite. Whenever anybody would ask me about it, I told them exactly how I felt, that as a seasonal watcher it was kind of hard to pick one. As many of you however now know, I do have favorites, but the list is still short enough to count on one hand. Either way, it all had to start somewhere. And for me, that start was with a middle school romance like no other. Tsuki ga Kirei. In a lot of romance anime, there tends to be a running trend of over-dramatization, which in all honesty follows the medium even outside of the genre. While it can be enjoyable to see these creative and or wacky situations play out, adding something more realistic to the stirring pot can bring about wonders, and that's exactly what this anime does. These aren't some special or popular kids that are put in strenuous situations which bring them closer together. They just had a chance to meet through a completely normal coincidence and took that opportunity to dive into something they had never experienced before. Look, at the end of the day, anime is still primarily Japanese, and so a lot of ideas and concepts stem from that culture. Adolescence is something many Japanese people sadly don't get to experience in its entirety, and that's in large part due to the environment that they're raised in. They're also very quiet and soft-spoken, and so generally due to many of the pressures from family, society, and their peers, many of them don't get to experience youth all that much. Tsuki ga Kirei explores this in such an understanding fashion, as you see the main male protagonist Kotaro attempt to appease his mother with his schoolwork, while also struggling to follow his own aspirations of becoming a writer in the future. On the other end of the spectrum, you have the childish love between two main characters, which allows them to become more perceptive of their own wants and desires. A love can be complicated along with life itself, but that doesn't mean it's always gonna be that way. Some moments it can be calming and sweet, and there are times when the hardships of one doesn't affect the other. While Kotaro and Akane both have issues to deal with in their personal lives, instead of their love life being dragged into it, you're able to watch as it comforts them and gives them moments of rest. One of the most beautiful parts of the visual medium is how, unlike so many others, even without a single sound, emotions can still be conveyed to their full extent. In a way, Tsuki ga Kirei does just that, conveying moments of awkwardness and glee in some of the most compelling ways. The moments of hesitation between the characters added more to each scene than any amount of words could have, and that's honestly something I don't really see done often enough anymore. So many times, silent moments are brought together with overbearing accompaniment tracks or interrupted by internal monologues. It's not to say it's wrong to do so, but rather that it's become too common of an occurrence within anime, or really most forms of media. But the reason I enjoyed the silent moments so much was in large part due to the prevalence of the sound in other shows. The scenes felt odd in comparison, but not out of place. It was an experience honestly unlike any other when watching this anime, just for a simple reason such as sound design. This change drew me in more just because of how different it was, but that's not to say different is always good. This style lends itself well here because the story itself is more somber than most others. Quiet moments work better for it than it would for other shows because they blend into the scenes more naturally, rather than feeling as if they dramatically alter them. But this calm and relaxing tone that's prevalent throughout most of the episodes is another reason why I love this anime so dearly. I feel like this is more of a disclaimer than anything, but it's necessary for me to address this in order to explain why it works.月がきれいhas almost no real drama or stakes throughout the entire anime. Now, this might sound odd, but we're sort of taught to believe that a good story naturally has to have an overarching conflict that gets in the way of the main character's progression, but that's actually not true. In a lot of fundamentals of writing stories, it never expressly states that there has to be a challenge for a character to face. It just mostly focuses on how to create an interesting plot structure. There never has to be a beginning or an end, and in the same way, there doesn't always have to be this greater issue to face. I'm not gonna sit here and say that there's never a dilemma that the characters have to confront. The only difference with it is that those situations are never blown out of proportion. The entire anime is a coming-of-age story for the two main protagonists, but instead of drastically changing who they fundamentally are, the anime takes care in showing that while they develop to become more open with each other and to those around them, they're still the same people. Both Kotaro and Akane are soft-spoken and generally quiet, and while there is one scene specifically where I can say that Kotaro breaks out of that shell for a moment, it isn't forced or out of character. And with the calm nature of the story, it feels that much more real when he separates himself from that constant tone, and it makes a much bigger impact because of it. The scene is simple and short when compared to so many other shows, but to Tsuki ga Kirei, it's more than that. It's the culmination of everything Kotaro has tried to achieve, all coming together in just one word. 大好きだー!